We now move over to South Asia for our next story, where a preliminary crash report into last month's deadly Air India Boeing 787 disaster has revealed that both engines were unintentionally shut down seconds after takeoff. The Dreamliner, flying from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick on June the 12th, crashed shortly after liftoff, killing all 275 people aboard, apart from one survivor, making it the world's deadliest air crash in over a decade. Investigators say both engines' fuel cut-off switches were found in the off position immediately after the aircraft reached takeoff speed, causing a sudden loss of thrust. The cockpit voice recorder captured apparent confusion between the pilots, with one reportedly asking, "Why did you cut off?" and the other responding, "I did not do so." A ram air turbine deployed to supply emergency power, and the crew tried to restart the engines. Only one showed signs of partial recovery. Let's listen in to what the relatives of the victims had to say after the report came out today.
तो ये कि कहते हैं कि इसकी जो भी जांच हो निष्पक्ष हो और जो भी इसके अंदर दोषी पाया जाए उसको सज़ा मिलनी चाहिए। बस हम और कुछ नहीं चाहते। हमारा का जो खोना था वो तो हमने तो खो लिया, पर हमारा तो एक ही है कि ऐसी लापरवाही हो कि और किसी की जान ना जाए। हमारा एक ही कहना है, और कुछ
इसके अंदर प्रिकॉशंस लेने हो वो सारे गवर्नमेंट ले, ताकि ऐसा हादसा फिर कभी भी कहीं भी किसी के भी साथ ना हो और कोई भी।
Now the fallout continues from the preliminary crash report into the air disaster that altogether killed 275 people. The US Federal Aviation Administration confirmed it has received the report and says it remains engaged with international partners, while the National Transportation Safety Board continues to lead the American side of the investigation. Boeing has deferred all comment to the Indian Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, citing ICAO protocol. Air India, meanwhile, said it acknowledges the report and is fully cooperating with authorities. But sharp criticism has come from the Pilots Association of India, which raised concerns over the lack of transparency and claimed the investigation appears biased against the cockpit crew. The group also questioned how sensitive details reached the media before official disclosures and called for observer access in the probe. Now we're joined by Captain S.S. Painsar, who's an aviation expert and also was the ex-director of flight safety for Indian Airlines. He joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Captain Painsar, for joining us on the programme. I want to quickly, before we move on to some of these reactions that have come post-report this morning, what has been your initial response? What are your initial thoughts on this report?
Well, we have just come to know they have sent a 15-page report to the Ministry of Civil Aviation. But I still wonder, who are the experts involved in the investigation of this crash inquiry? Are the experienced pilots, engineers? The Director General of Civil Aviation has a department known as Flight Inspection Directorate. There are pilots. Why don't they involve the pilot from 787 or engineer from 787 to involve them? Then second thing, they have one of the cockpit voice recorder. Why don't they make the cockpit voice recorder read out publicly? Let the public know what is the talk in the cockpit. Why don't they have a public investigation or the judicial inquiry where the facts will be clear? Everything is done under secrecy. The report has been sent to DGCA. One of my friends has commented it is like a Manohar Kahaniya they represented. Now the actual report will come out in 6 months. No, why they can't give a report immediately, giving the fact this particular report, it doesn't represent any facts about the crash, why it has happened. No reason given, only they're talking fuel lever. Fuel lever is not like an on-off switch like in the house you have it. They have a fail-safe feature. You can't put them straight away on and off. There are the catches, you have to lift it and then move it. Flap lever and especially the fuel lever, there are the catches, you can't move it straight up and forward. But which pilot said, "Ke ye kya kiya tune?" The question, who's that pilot? Let them come out with the voice. We will recognize the voice. Which pilot said like that? but they won't make the CVR as public. This inquiry is all done at closed doors. There's not a single professional person is involved. And let me tell you one thing more. These two engines fitted on this aircraft were overhauled about.
Yes, we are joined by Captain Painsar to discuss this report and the reactions to it that have come out. We have learned that the report on the Air India crash in June has found that both fuel switches were in the cut-off position, and a step that turns off the engines moments before this plane crashed in Ahmedabad, killing over 275 people overall. Audio from this cockpit situation detailed. The report suggests confusion between the two pilots. One of the colleagues asked why he turned it off. The other pilot replies saying he did not so. Also, we've had some responses from the authorities and some of these bodies in response to this report. Friends and families of the victims are reacting, but with one cousin of the crew saying that the new information doesn't change how they're grieving. We're once again joined by Captain S.S. Painsar to discuss this. I want to dive into the reactions to this report now. Accountability is on people's minds here. Obviously, we do have limited information. This is a preliminary report and not a final one. However, the Association of India has raised concerns over the lack of transparency here and has claimed that the investigation appears biased against the cockpit crew. What are your thoughts on that, Captain?
Question we wanted in a public inquiry, an open inquiry. The question is not to blame anybody. The question is to find out what happened actually on this aircraft, what are the actions of the pilot, is any fault of anybody. So once we know the exact thing, then you can come on how to improve on certain things. Then you can give measures to adopt so that such thing does not happen in future. We don't know the pilot fault, engineering fault, aircraft fault, company's fault, Air India fault. Nobody knows it. It is the investigation should be pure and straightforward, truthful with the public involvement. The DGC has got expert pilots. Why they have not involved any pilot in the investigation? Is there any pilot or engineer on 787 involved in this investigation? Are they all expert on this aircraft? Are they giving their judgment on their imaginations only? The only thing is you have to involve the right person in the investigation to get the truth of the case. Idea is not to blame anybody. Idea is to know the fact. International Civil Aviation Organization motto is all accidents should be investigated not for the punitive purpose, but for the fact to know how and what it happened, how and why it happened, and to take measures to stop such occurrence in the future. Do we have the 787 pilot or engineer involved in this investigation who can also give them some assessor to give them opinion about what could have happened, how the levers move? There's a catch in the fuel lever and the flap lever. They are not like a home switch, light on off switches. There's a catch. You just straightaway can't put and say one of the pilots talked to the cockpit. Who was that pilot? We will recognize the voice. Let them make the CVR as public. We want to know which pilot said kya hua, switch kaise off kar diya. These facts can be carried out only if there's a right investigation, either by public inquiry or a judicial inquiry, which the government has refused to do it.
Captain, I think your answer there highlights the importance of sticking with the facts that we do know. What can we expect and what kind of protocols are going to be taken now? How is this going to be moved forward? And how long do you think it's going to take until we do get those answers, if we ever do get those permanent answers of what happened on that day on June the 12th?
Sir, unless you have people who are flying this type of aircraft, the engineer from Air India can be called for any clarification and what they speak and the position of aircraft, when the engines were overhauled, when were they overhauled, where were they overhauled, when were they fitted, and who monitored the overhauling of the engines in foreign country. Were they overhauled in India or in a foreign country? We don't know. All these facts belong to the investigation, honest investigation of this crash, because this crash has a lot of ramification all over the world. It has scared the public. We want to win the confidence of the public by giving them the exact situation what has happened, and we assure us that in future we have taken measures. It will not happen in future.
Captain
Idea
S.
is not to pinpoint the blame on anybody. Idea is to find out what happened.
Yes.
We have to learn a lesson.
Yes, yes, that is very much true. Thank you, Captain S.S. Payne-Sar. As the captain says, it's very important that you, the viewers, know that this is a preliminary report.